That is so cool, to be able to get a new name and get a new name at the same time. How can that is so beautiful. Praise God for that. Something to be thankful about. Love our theme this morning. I was thinking about years ago when I first started in the airline industry. I started with American, and I worked on the ramp. And one of the things of working on the ramp that your responsibility to do, because I worked the closing shift, was after you unloaded the plane, you run upstairs to take bag reports. Now, if you've ever flown, you know what a bag report is. It is rated on Guinness Book World Records as the worst job on earth that anybody should ever have to do. And the scenario was the same. I don't know why American would always lose so many bags, but they always did. And it was, it was a flight of 50 people just from DFW to Lubbock. But in any case, the scenario was I'd stand over here and I'd watch the carousel turn around, and people would grab their bags and start heading to the car. And then the carousel would stop, and there'd be about 12 people standing there going and whispering like, where is it going to start again? And then all of a sudden, at this magic moment, they would all turn from the carousel and they'd all turn to me standing at the counter. And they'd have vicious, violent, angry looks on their face with threats of killing. And they would march in unison over to the counter and form this long line. And one by one, I'd have to, give me your bags and your claim check and what's your name. And the way it was set up, it would take forever. So, the person who's at the back of the line, as each person gets longer and longer in the line, the angrier they got, because they're already angry that their bag that has their medicine and their clothes and all of their important items, and they're imagining it being, in Hawaii or whatever they're imagining, it's totally gone. The longer they wait in line, the angrier they got. So by the end of the line, that was usually the person just let me have it and just called me every name under the book. Well, this particular evening, this lady was in the back of the line, and I'm just one by one, I'm just taking these reports and just waiting as the animosity builds. And finally, she comes up to me, and I say, "I just need your claim check." And she says, "I got my bag." I said, "Oh, okay. Well, what's going on?" She says, "I just wanted to say thank you for getting my bag on the plane. I saw all these people that didn't have their bags, and I thought how horrible that must be. And so I just wanted to wait in this line and say thank you for getting my bag on the plane." Now, there are a lot of reasons why you don't believe that story, right? You don't believe it. And you have very good reason to believe it, because it's not true. It's ridiculous. It's absurd. That doesn't happen. What does happen is when you lose my bag, that's when you hear about it. Because that is our nature. It is much more our nature to grumble than it is to be thankful. I was remembering my daughter, at that early age when we're first starting to teach her, to say thank you. And so we say thank you. And so a circumstance would come up to say thank you, and we'd remind her, say thank you. And I remember she'd always whisper it, "Thank you." But man, when it came time to grumble, boy, it was loud and clear. I mean, you could hear it. We didn't have to tell her, "Hey, be sure to grumble here. This is a good opportunity to grumble." We didn't have to do that. We didn't have to teach her to grumble. We had to teach her how to be thankful, because that is our nature. We have to set aside a special day of the year just to remind us, hey, at least one day a year, be thankful. It is not our nature. But I believe, and I am convinced, that Thanksgiving is only truly Thanksgiving when we feel like grumbling. Is that fair? Thanksgiving is truly Thanksgiving when I feel like grumbling. That is when Thanksgiving becomes a gift. It becomes a giving of thanks. It reminds me of the Hebrew writer who refers to it as a sacrifice of praise. Why does the Hebrew writer refer to praise as a sacrifice? Because it is our nature not to praise. It is our nature to grumble. And the Hebrew writer says, I want you to sacrifice that grumbling on the altar. Even though you feel like grumbling, even though you feel like complaining, I want you to stand in that line, and I want you to wait a half an hour, and I want you to tell that poor agent who's got a horrible day, thank you for getting my bag on the plane. Wouldn't that be cool? I dare you to do it. That's a sacrifice. 1 Chronicles 29, just for a couple minutes, I love this prayer of David. And you remember the scenario is David wanted to build the temple, and God said no. He says, I'm going to have your son Solomon do it. And so David comes along and sets it up so that he can give for it. 1 Chronicles 29, beginning in verse 10. This is just David's prayer of thanksgiving, and it's just so exhilarating as I love this text. 1 Chronicles 29, verse 10, Therefore David blessed Jehovah before all the assembly, and David said, Blessed are you, Jehovah God of Israel, our Father, forever and ever. Yours, O Jehovah, is the greatness, the power and the glory, the victory and the majesty, for all that is in heaven and in earth is yours. Yours is a kingdom, O Jehovah, and you are exalted as head over all. Both riches and honor come from you, and when you reign over all, in your hand is power and might. In your hand is to make great and to give strength to all. Now therefore, our God, we thank you, and we praise your glorious name. But who am I? And who are my people that we should be able to offer so willingly as this? For all things come from you, and of your own we have given you, for we are aliens and pilgrims before you, as were all our fathers. Our days on earth are as a shadow and without hope. There's several things that stand out to me in this text, but the first one that stands out to me is verse 13, that he says, Now therefore, our God. It never ceases to amaze me to realize how blessed we are to simply know who to thank. I remember some friends of mine, they were missionaries, and someone from our church donated a van to them. And that van, they were going to be able to do ministry, and they were going to be able to take it back to where they were doing mission work and be able to reach so many people and pack that van with like 20 people and drive them around. And they were so thankful, but the person who gave the gift gave it anonymously. And I remember how frustrated they were because they were like, we want so much to say thank you to somebody, but nobody will tell us who it is. And that frustration, it reminds me of that song, I think it's God Bless America. I thank my lucky stars to be living here today. What song is that? What is it? God bless America. I thank my lucky stars. Let's sing it. I thank my... God bless America. Is that what it is? God bless you. It's God bless. I thank my lucky stars. What on earth is that? My lucky stars? I don't know. I don't thank my lucky stars. I don't even know which ones they are. I thank the creator of the lucky stars. I thank the one whose name is Yahweh, whose name is Jehovah, whose name is sovereign, whose name is Father, the one who says, Aaron, I've given you the lucky stars so you could sing about them and enjoy them. Thank you, Lord. Just the fact that we know who to thank is amazing. The second thing that stands out to me is that David reminds us that God is great, and I am not. I really believe those two pillars are two of the reasons why we struggle with being as thankful as we could be, because we forget both of those things. We forget how amazing God is and how great He is, and somewhere along the line, we've forgotten that we are not great. David says, who am I? And who are my people that we should be able to offer? God, I'm standing before your sovereignty and your amazing power and wonder, and I'm left going, Lord, who am I? What am I? And the reason we get cranky, the reason we fail to be thankful is because we've forgotten how great and amazing He is, and somewhere along the line, we've begun to think that I have what I have because I am so good, and because I am so skillful, and because I'm so smart, and because I worked so many hours, and I did this, and I accomplished that, and I strategized this. That's why I have all these things. And David stands in awe and wonder of the greatness of God and the lack thereof with himself. But thirdly, he reminds us in verse 16, he says, O Jehovah our God, all this abundance that we have prepared to build you a house for your holy name is from your hand and is all your own. It reminds me when I was a kid, and I'm sure it was the same with you, and the same with you having kids. Around Christmas time, around this time of year, you would start preparing for the gifts for your children, or you would prepare to receive the gifts. And when you're a little kid, you can't drive, you don't have a job, you don't have money. So your parents, they drive and they go and they buy the items. They drive in their car. Your parents wrap it for you. They put it in a box. And I just realized where I was going with this doesn't make any sense. What was I going to say? It does? Help me out. Where am I going?
Because they did it all for the child, and yet the child gives it to the adult. And the adult recognizes.
That's what I was going. Thank you for the front row. It's the other way around. As a kid, your parents take you to buy a gift for the parents, right? This is where I'm going. You buy, and it's their money, it's their gas, it's their car, it's their time, and yet as soon as they unwrap that gift, they act like it was from you. They act like, wow, thank you for this gadget, whatever it is. And David understood that. I don't understand, I forget, but David understood it. He understood, God, all that I give you is not even mine. It's yours. And I give you thanks for that. I want to challenge you to look around the audience right now. I want you to look for somebody that's not your best friend, maybe not even near you. And I want you to find 3 people and tell them one thing you're thankful for. Do it. Ready, set, go.